My name is Lydia Blackwood. I'm 34 years old, the youngest daughter of a family that treats wealth like oxygen and image like religion. While my mother and sister built their lives around charity galas and curated lies, I paid the bills behind the scenes. Always the helper, never the headline. They called me sensitive, said I cared too much, worked too hard, took things too personally. Maybe they were right. Because when I saw the message from my mother at 2:03 a.m., don't call. Don't come over. We're done. I didn't cry. I didn't call back. I just packed a bag, blocked them all, and left. What I didn't know then was that I wasn't just being cut off. I was being erased from a legacy I'd unknowingly built for them. And I was about to uncover exactly how deep that betrayal went. They thought they deleted me, but I'm the one holding the backup file. Cut to black. Rain hard and fast, slapping the windshield like it had something personal to say. My wipers screamed with every swipe. I hadn't driven out of Naperville in years. Now I was halfway to nowhere at 2:17 a.m., phone on airplane mode, a single duffel bag in the back seat, and a gnawing clarity sitting where panic should have been. You're not angry, I whispered to myself. You're awake. Mom's message repeated in my mind like a broken metronome. Don't call. Don't come. We're done. She always said things with finality like doors slamming. No room for replies. Only obedience. This time I replied. Noted. Gas station. 2 pumps. No one in sight. I filled up with cash and didn't look at the cashier. Her TV played reruns of a cooking show. The sound was too cheerful for how dead the night felt. I checked my email. 1 unread. Subject: Blackwood Estate Transfer. Finalized. From Felix Brenner, Family Law, LLC. Attachment: Deed Confirmation. Property 8901, Waverly Lane. I blinked. Opened it. Froze. The house I was born in. The house I paid to keep from foreclosure in 2018. The house I just refinanced last year under my name, transferred. No signature from me. No notification. No warning. Finalized. How do you erase someone while they're still breathing? Another email arrived. Same timestamp. This one from the mortgage company. Subject line. Restructure of joint assets. Blackwood. Trust disbursement. There was a line in the PDF that snapped something loose inside me. The client, Lydia A. Blackwood, is no longer listed as an authorized beneficiary. No longer listed. I sat in the car, key still in ignition, engine rumbling like it wanted to scream for me. What was it that Grandma always said? You can be the roots or the rot, but never both. I had spent 10 years being their roots, their stability, their backup generator. And now I was nothing but the bill they forgot to pay. Rain intensified. I pulled out onto the highway, headed nowhere, headed everywhere. I thought about the last time Mom hugged me. Thanksgiving. Her arms tense, her perfume biting, her eyes looking through me. You don't know how to let things go, she'd said. That's why you never move forward. No, I don't let things go. Especially when they weren't hers to take. Flash of headlights behind me. Too close. I switched lanes. They followed. No plate. Black SUV. Windows tinted. Coincidence? No, not tonight. I took the next exit fast and sharp. SUV didn't follow, but they knew I'd read the emails. They knew I'd find out. Phone back on. No new messages. I opened my encrypted drive, uploaded the documents, changed passwords, triple-locked my Google account. Insurance first, revenge later. I booked a motel under my backup name, Eliza Moreau, the name on my freelance LLC. Paid cash, no ID, no questions. Room smelled like bleach and cheap soap. I bolted the door and sat on the edge of the bed, wet hair dripping onto the comforter. Then I opened the only other thing I hadn't touched since the text. Grandma's last letter. The one she gave me on my 30th. Just 6 words. If they cut you out, burn back in. And that was exactly what I intended to do. If they erase me from their lives, I'm about to make them regret leaving a trace. The motel blinds snapped open with a twitch of my fingers. Outside, the parking lot steamed from the early morning rain. No movement, no black SUV, no one watching. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling. I poured bitter coffee into a paper cup. My hand trembled, not from caffeine, from knowing everything I built had been hijacked while I'd been too busy surviving to notice. 1 document was a mistake. 2 was a warning. 3, that was war. The Blackwood estate transfer wasn't just illegal. It was staged, synchronized, deliberate. I needed help. Someone who wasn't on their payroll. Someone with nothing to lose. Amber O'Connell answered on the 3rd ring. You remember me? I asked, voice low. You tipped me $100 to keep the room warm for your grandmother after hours. Of course I remember. I need to talk. Off record. Today. Silence. Then, I can meet you in 30. And bring gloves. Cut scene. We met at the edge of a dog park behind the old Lutheran church. Neutral ground. Cameras visible, easy exits. Amber wore scrubs under a raincoat. She looked older, thinner. Not scared, but alert. Like someone who knew exactly when the storm began. She never signed anything, Amber said before I even asked. Her hands shook too much to write, and she hadn't spoken clearly for weeks before she passed. But the new will was fake, she snapped. And the day it was supposedly signed, I was on shift. I remember who came in. She handed me a folded printout. Visitor log. 1 name caught my eye. Felix Brenner. Accompanied by Margaret Blackwood. My mother. My stomach flipped. Security footage? I asked. Would have been wiped by now, but I made a habit of backing things up, just in case. Her lips twitched. Some people record weddings. I record crimes. She handed me a flash drive wrapped in a blue nitrile glove. When you watch this, be ready to break something. Cut to motel. I slid the drive into my laptop, killed the lights and pressed play. Grainy grayscale. Room 214. My grandmother's frail body in the bed. She didn't move. Felix entered first. Straight-backed. Carried a folder. My mother followed. Her hair in a tight bun. She looked composed. Not grieving. Not warm. Felix pulled a chair next to the bed. Opened the folder. My mother pulled the bedsheet down, just enough to expose my grandmother's limp hand. The pen was placed in her fingers. Felix guided her hand across the bottom of the document, slowly, like signing a receipt under anesthesia, like puppeteering a corpse. I couldn't breathe. They forged a dead woman's signature. No, they forged a dying woman's final breath. Amber's voice echoed in my memory. She never signed anything. But they made her sign everything. Cut scene. I scanned the PDF version of the new will again. There it was, line 17. All assets, including but not limited to the Blackwood estate, trusts and foundation holdings, to be transferred in full to Margaret and Callista Blackwood. My name didn't appear once. Not even as a courtesy mention. Not even in the footnotes. And yet I'd built that foundation. My LLC handled the digital side. My EIN was still linked to the donation system. I had filed its first grant paperwork. I named it Rosewood, after her. You can spend your whole life watering people who only wanted to drown you, I whispered. Cut scene. I logged into the foundation dashboard. Password still worked. God bless lazy IT. Access level revoked. Financials redacted. Board members updated. New signatures. All legal. All cleaned. All forged. Ping. A new email arrived. From anonymous at encryptedmail.cc. Subject, she told me you'd find this. Attachment, JPEG photo. It was my grandmother. Frail in bed. clutching a leather-bound notebook. The same notebook I used to read to her from. But this photo was dated 3 days after the alleged signature on the will. In the corner of the image, blurry but clear enough, Felix's briefcase. Open. Stuffed with blank signature pages. Cut scene. I drove to the estate perimeter. High iron gates. Cameras rotated every 6 seconds. Security pad glowed red. Unauthorized. But I wasn't here to break in. I was here to watch them eat dinner under the chandelier I paid to rewire. I dialed Amber again. I need you to get me the visitor logs for the last 6 months. And anything your admin might have saved. Messages, voicemails, even deleted ones. That's a lot. They stole her signature. Now I want her voice. Amber paused. You're going to tear this open, aren't you? No. I'm going to rip it out by the root. If they didn't just forge a signature, they murdered her last wish. I waited until the house went dark. Lights off. Motion sensors cycling. The Blackwood estate slept like a predator. Quiet, expensive, lethal. I parked 2 blocks away. Hood up. Gloves on. Phone on silent. Air cold enough to sting. People say home is where you feel safe. That's a lie. Home is where you know exactly where the knives are kept. The spare key was still under the concrete flower pot. Same chipped edge. Same mistake. They never believed I'd stop being predictable. The door opened with a soft click. Cut. Inside smelled wrong. New furniture. New polish. My grandmother's jasmine candles were gone. Replaced by citrus and steel. Everything curated. Nothing lived in. I closed the door. Alarm pad blinked green. I had 90 seconds. Stairs. Left. Study. The desk was new. Glass top. Minimalist. Designed to erase fingerprints and memory. But the drawer jammed when I pulled it. Always had. Wood swollen from a flood years ago. Some flaws don't forget. I yanked. Hard. It opened. Files. Neatly stacked. Color-coded. Labeled like a thesis. Estate planning drafts. My breath went shallow. Draft 1. Everything to Mom and Callie. No mention of me. Draft 2. Same. But a footnote, Lydia A. Blackwood to receive a personal bequest of $1. Draft 3. Worse. A paragraph added. Due to documented emotional instability, Lydia A. Blackwood is excluded from all fiduciary consideration. They didn't just cut me out. They pathologized me. I flipped pages fast. Hand steady. Heart not. There's a saying I used to repeat when clients tried to gaslight me. If someone has to rewrite you to win, they already lost. I said it out loud now. To keep breathing. Behind the drafts, another folder. Rosewood Foundation. Amendments. My stomach dropped. They'd rerouted the foundation. Changed governance. Removed my authority clause. Left my EIN attached just long enough to funnel assets. Then revoked access. Clean. Legal looking. Poisoned. Buzz. My phone vibrated once. Unknown number. I ignored it. I reached deeper into the drawer. Found a phone. Burner. Cheap. Scratched screen. No case. Messages loaded instantly. We'll use the 2011 samples. Parkinson's progression wasn't visible then. She trusts Felix. She always has. Liddy won't contest. She hates conflict. If she does, we call her unstable. They knew me. Or they thought they did. A floorboard creaked upstairs. I froze. Cut. I killed the desk lamp. Slid behind the chair. Held my breath. Counted. 1, 2, 3. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Not a surprise. An arrival. The phone buzzed again. Same number. I silenced it. I reached into my pocket, started recording audio. Habit. Evidence over fear. The study door opened. Light spilled in. Callie stepped inside like she owned the room. Because she did. At least on paper. She wore black. Hair perfect. calm, like this was a meeting she'd scheduled. "You're always so dramatic," she said, closing the door behind her, breaking in instead of calling. I stayed hidden, didn't answer. She walked to the desk, ran a finger along the glass, smiled. "You know what Grandma used to say," she continued. "The youngest ones never learn their place. They think effort equals entitlement." I stepped out. Her smile didn't falter. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "Legally." "Funny," I said. "Neither should those documents." I held up the drafts. She glanced. Dismissive. "Drafts aren't crimes. Forgery is." Her eyes sharpened. Just a flicker. "That wasn't even the real plan," she said softly. The words landed wrong, like a trapdoor opening under my feet. "What plan?" I asked. She tilted her head, studied me. "You always think this is about money. That's why you lose." She moved closer. Too close. "Grandma changed her will," Callie said. "Just not for you. Not for me either." My pulse spiked. "She left everything to Rosewood," Callie continued. "Your foundation. The one you forgot you registered." The room spun. "They panicked," she went on. "Mom. Felix. Because a foundation can't be controlled like a daughter. So they hijacked it, used your name, took your legacy, and turned it into theirs." My knees locked. They stole it twice. The alarm went off. Shrill. Violent. Red lights pulsed. Callie stepped back. Smile gone. "You have 10 seconds." I ran. Cut. Back door. Glass shattered under my elbow. Pain flared. Warm blood slicked my sleeve. I hit the yard hard. Mud. Rain. Pine needles. The woods swallowed me. Behind me, Callie's voice cut through the sirens. "You shouldn't have come back, Lydia." I didn't stop running until my lungs felt like paper. Branches tore at my jacket. Wet leaves slid under my boots. Sirens screamed somewhere behind me, then faded. Or maybe they didn't. In the dark, everything sounds like pursuit. I crouched behind a fallen oak at the edge of the woods, blood dripping from my arm, rain washing it into the dirt. The estate lights glowed through the trees like watchful eyes. I pressed my palm against the cut. Pain sharpened my focus. A thought surfaced, calm and cold. "Fear is just information. Use it." Cut. The motel bathroom mirror was cracked down the center. My reflection split in two, one side steady, the other shaking. I cleaned the wound with hotel vodka and gauze stolen from the front desk. It burned. I welcomed it. Phone back on. 3 missed calls. Unknown number. Same as before. A text followed. "You can still walk away." I laughed. Soft. Humorless. People always say walking away is strength. That's only true when someone isn't chasing you with your own name. I typed nothing. Instead, I uploaded everything, draft wills, burner messages, the hospital footage, to 3 separate encrypted clouds. One private, one scheduled for release if I went dark, one sent to a contact who owed me a favor from a case years ago, a former compliance officer, now an investigator. "You don't need justice," he once told me over bourbon. "You need leverage." Cut. Amber met me at a 24-hour diner off, Route 59. Fluorescent lights. Sticky floors. The kind of place no one watches because everyone assumes someone else is. She slid into the booth, eyes scanning the room. "They're nervous," she said. "Administration pulled my access this morning. Said I violated protocol." "They always say that right before indictments," I replied. She passed me a folder under the table. Visitor logs, medication schedules, nurse notes. One line circled in red. Sedation increased at request of family counsel. "That's not legal without medical justification," I said. Amber nodded. "Exactly. Mandatory reporting applies. Elder abuse. Coercion." I felt the ground shift. "We're past civil court," I said. "This is federal." Amber hesitated. There's more. She leaned in, lowered her voice. Your mother wasn't the one pushing, she said. She was following. Following who? Felix. The name landed heavier than expected. The family lawyer. 40 years of trust. Handshakes at funerals. Smiles at weddings. He authorized the medication adjustments, Amber continued. Claimed power of attorney. Temporarily. Signed off during a window when your grandmother was deemed non-communicative. That window was manufactured, I said. Yes. Cut. I drove. Fast. Toward the city. If Felix was orchestrating this, he wasn't just stealing. He was laundering. Foundations were perfect for that. Donations. Shell grants. Clean faces. Dirty money. I called the investigator. He answered on the first ring. I need you to file mandatory reports, I said. Elder abuse. Financial exploitation. Today. A pause. Keyboard clicks. You know what this triggers, he said. I do. You're about to make enemies with resources. I smiled. I already have. Cut. That night, I sat in my car across from the Blackwood estate again. Different angle. Different plan. Lights on upstairs. Movement behind curtains. I wasn't here to break in this time. I was here to confirm something. I zoomed in with my camera. Felix's car in the driveway. Of course. I remembered something he once told me when I was 25, crying in his office because Mom wanted me to sign a loan I couldn't afford. Families don't destroy each other, he'd said gently. They just rearrange power. I watched him exit the house. Calm. Unhurried. He adjusted his coat like a man who believed the world was still predictable. My phone buzzed. An email notification. Subject line. Rosewood Foundation. Emergency board meeting announcement. Location. A downtown ballroom. 2 nights from now. They were moving fast. So was I. Cut. I checked into another motel under another name. Showered. Changed. Slept for 90 minutes with my phone on my chest. Dreams were short. Sharp. Doors slamming. Pens scratching paper. My grandmother's hand going limp. I woke up clear. There's a saying I used to repeat when deals went sideways. When the room tightens, don't panic. Control the exits. I wasn't bleeding out. I was sharpening. I opened my laptop. Drafted a timeline. Built a narrative. Cross-referenced dates with filings. Mapped Felix's trusts to Shell LLCs. The pattern emerged like a fingerprint. He wasn't just stealing from us. He was using us. A knock at the door. 3 sharp taps. My breath stopped. I grabbed the lamp. Moved silently. Lydia, a voice said softly. Male. Calm. Familiar. It's Felix. The door handle turned. Unlocked. If they think bleeding will stop me, they've forgotten who I am. Felix didn't push the door open. He knocked again. Polite. Controlled. That was his tell. I stepped back. Lamp raised, heart hammering. Then my phone buzzed, one vibration, sharp. Unknown, don't open it. I froze. Felix's voice drifted through the door. Lydia, I know you're in there. We should talk. I killed the lights and moved to the bathroom. Slid the latch. Waited. Silence. Footsteps retreated. Tires on gravel. Cut. I didn't sleep. I moved. By dawn, I was 2 counties over in a motel that smelled like burnt toast and bleach. I stitched the plan together in bursts, coffee keystrokes calls. The investigator filed mandatory reports before noon. Elder abuse, financial exploitation, falsified POA. Paperwork is violence when done right. I met Dr. Marisol Vega in a co-working space downtown. Glass walls. White noise machines. Neutral ground. She watched the hospital footage once. Twice. Then paused it on a frame where Felix's hand guided the pen. That's not assistance, she said. That's simulation. She pulled up signature samples from 2011, overlaid pressure maps. Parkinson's tremor doesn't disappear. It migrates. They staged consent, she said. Federal. I nodded. Can you testify? Yes. A beat. But they'll come for you. I smiled thin. They already did. Cut. An envelope slid under my motel door at 2:11 a.m. No return address. Inside, original Rosewood Foundation bylaws. Ink smudged, edges worn, and a clause crossed out with a heavy hand. The clause naming me as executive director with sole veto over asset transfers. Signature at the bottom. Felix Brenner. My phone rang immediately after. Unknown number. I answered. Smart people know when to stop, Felix said, calm as a metronome. You've always been smart. You stole from a dying woman, I said. That's not smart. That's sloppy. A pause, then a sigh. This isn't about theft. It's about stewardship. Funny word for laundering. Silence stretched. Come to the gala, he said finally. Let's be civil. Cut. The gala was announced as a relaunch. Downtown ballroom. Chandeliers. Donors in tuxedos. Cameras hungry for absolution. I went in through the service entrance with Marisol. Staff badges. Neutral faces. The kind of invisibility earned by women who do the work. Inside, the room glowed gold. String quartet. Crystal. A banner read, Rosewood, a legacy continues. They had turned my grandmother into a slogan. I spotted Callie near the stage, laughing too loudly. My mother at her side, hands folded like prayer. Felix hovered, conductor of a very expensive orchestra. My phone buzzed, investigator, agents en route. Hold. A waiter brushed past me, whispered without looking, You're being watched. I caught a reflection in the mirrored column. A man with an earpiece, eyes on me. There's a line I've lived by since my first client tried to bury me. When the spotlight moves, step into it before they aim it at you. I stepped forward. Marisol slipped to the AV table, plugged in the drive. Felix took the stage, smiled. Tonight, we honor a woman who believed in care without conditions. The screen behind him flickered. Hospital room. Grainy. Unforgiving. A collective inhale. Felix turned. His smile cracked. This is inappropriate. Marisol's voice cut through the room. This is evidence. The footage rolled. The pen. The limp hand. The guidance. Gasps. Phones rose. Whispers ignited. Felix raised his hands. A misunderstanding. The patient consented. I stepped beside him. Took the mic. My grandmother couldn't sign her name, I said. Short. Clear. But you taught her how to disappear. I nodded to the screen. Documents flashed, draft wills, crossed out clauses, timestamps aligning like teeth. Distraction. Reveal. Cut to reaction. Callie's face drained. My mother staggered back, clutching a chair. Felix leaned toward me, voice low. You think you win by burning it down. I think truth is a solvent, I said. It dissolves everything you built. Sirens. Doors burst. Federal agents flooded the ballroom. Jackets. Badges. Purpose. Felix tried to move. An agent blocked him. Sir, don't. Callie bolted. 2 steps. Tackled. The room erupted. My phone buzzed again. Investigator. Arrests in progress. As Felix was cuffed, he met my eyes. For the first time, fear broke through. You've ruined them, he hissed. I leaned in. You did. I just balanced the books. Cameras flashed as they led him away. My mother sank into a chair, suddenly small. Callie screamed my name once. I didn't turn. Outside, the night air was cold and clean. Sirens faded. The city exhaled. I checked my email. Notification. Transfer pending. Rosewood Trust reinstatement. I closed my eyes. They turned my bloodline into a brand. Time to bankrupt the whole thing. 2 months later, the house sat empty. boarded windows, wilted garden. The gate still bore the family crest, corroded and crooked, a symbol of legacy rotting from the inside. I stood at the curb in my grandmother's old coat. Cold, windy, but the silence didn't feel oppressive anymore. It felt earned. Felix had pled not guilty. Of course he had. White-collar crime wears a smile to court. But the forensic accounting was airtight. Federal charges. Multi-state jurisdiction. Callie flipped in 2 weeks. My mother claimed mental duress. Neither strategy impressed the DOJ. They didn't see jail yet, but they saw daylight through bars. The foundation's assets were frozen. Donations rerouted. The Rosewood name now carried a cautionary footnote in every donor database. A legacy, yes, just not the one they wanted. I lit a cigarette I didn't plan to finish, watched a squirrel scurry along the eaves, a piece of torn ribbon in its mouth. Survival is messy, but sometimes beauty claws through it. Cut. AMC called that morning. Ms. Darcy from compliance. We've reviewed the full audit. Your actions were aggressive. You wanted evidence. And you brought fire. Sometimes truth doesn't knock, I said. It breaks the damn door. Pause. Then, we'd like to offer you a position. Internal Affairs. Investigative Unit. I almost laughed. You want me to clean up other families' messes now. We want someone who doesn't blink when the blood shows. I said I'd think about it. I wouldn't, but it felt good. Cut. Later that afternoon, I visited my grandmother's headstone. Just marble. No angel. No inscription, but her name. Justice doesn't undo what they did, I told her, but it stops them from doing it again. The wind picked up. Leaves scattered. Somewhere behind me, a twig snapped. I didn't turn. Let them watch. People say family is unconditional. They're wrong. Loyalty, like inheritance, should be earned. Forgiveness is not forgetting, I said aloud, half to her, half to myself. It's freeing yourself from their grip. That was the real win. Not the court dates. Not the headlines. Freedom. Cut. I sold the house the next week. Every dollar donated, real donation this time, to women-led elder care organizations. The kind that doesn't bleach dignity from the dying. Then I changed my number. Again. Started over. I didn't keep the trust fund, but I kept her photo. The one where she was laughing, hair pinned back, sleeves rolled, hands in garden soil. No pretense. Just life. She used to say, plant your truth like a tree. The ones who fear it will always try to chop it down. Turns out, roots grow deep when watered with pain. And mine, they're fireproof now.